mainly on MBP3 session. Right. MBP3 includes 3 parts. That is acquisition and evaluation. Then ISBN process and history is there, and then the memorandum of agreement, that is contract between the publisher and the author. Right. So we also talked about acquisition and evaluation in the last session. So you are a bit familiar with those terms, right? So now we will focus in on these parts, acquisition and evaluation, in detail now. So as I told you, there are many sources from which a publisher acquire the manuscript for to publish, right? In India, basically, the publishers are segregated on the basis of their subjects. Like, few are only the medical publishers. They publish only the medical books or journals. Theme publisher is there. They publish only the medical books, mainly on the medical books. Like Sage Publishing Company, they mainly publish in humanities field. So like one is their packet publishing, they mainly deal in the IT field only. So in India, or generally we can also say, publishers are mainly divided on the basis of their subjects they are dealing. So what mainly the authors do, that they write the content based on their subject. They go to the publisher to offer their manuscript to them. If the publisher is ready to publish, they get published it, and if not, then they go to some another publisher. Right. So how it will be done, and I will come to that in detail. I'm just giving you the bit introduction of this acquisition and evaluation. Right. So author sees many things while choosing the publisher. Like, first is the subject that they are, but that in which the publisher is dealing. Sometimes the authors also look for their specific needs. Suppose there is a CEO of the company, or some business entrepreneur has written a book on cooperatives and all, right? And they want the marketing techniques of the publisher to suit their way. Like, if their book is based on mainly on the big profiles of corporates, or big issues of corporate field, so they would maybe they would like to see that their books on the yeah, sorry, in on the airport markets and all. So they will see before approaching the publisher, that what is the technique that the publisher is following to market the book, whether it will serve their need or not. So others also look so many these kinds of things for the publisher. And sometimes it also happens that if the author is already publishing with some specific publisher, they will go to that publisher only, because one has a rapport with them. One has is aware about their publishing process, their skills, or their staff. So they will approach the same publishers, and in those cases the publisher also accept the manuscript of those authors, because they also know that what kind of content the author brings, and what kind of sellability of the books of some specific author. So in that case, the chances are high that the publisher will accept the manuscript of the author. And so these kind of things, what the author looks for in the publisher. So they but there are not only instances when the author looks for the publisher. There are also instances when the publisher needs a book to publish. Like if there is a suppose recent examples I will take, like the recent COVID pandemic. When the COVID pandemic began, so the publishers were looking for the books on these topics, because the COVID pandemic was a thing that had effect on everything, on every field, whether it is a e-commerce, whether it is a foreign trade, whether it is a company policies, corporate policies. So at that time, the publishers were looking for the people who can write on the effects of COVID after after such a huge pandemic. So, and like when the instance of money laundering happened, when the notes were banned of 500 and 1,000, and that time a lot of financial issues rose. So, and these kind of things, or if we don't take the current situation also, then also there are things like, if I talked about also like emerging technologies in some specific field, like in every field there is a scope of artificial intelligence and all, machine learning. So every publisher nowadays is looking for these kind of books, these kind of experts or authors who can write on these topics, so that they can approach the market first. The first come first of basis it works, because if the uh, publisher publishes a some book on some specific subject first, obviously the sales will be higher and all. And in these kind of scenarios, the publisher also would like to update their books. Like suppose if there is a book on HR analytics, right, so they will try to improve them. They will incorporate in them the some codings if they can. Like if there is a book on probability, I recently did a book on probability. It was a very good book, and there was no match of that book, but still it needed updates according to the contemporary situations, contemporary technologies and all. So we did 10 changes, and we updated that book and published that, and then it had a good sales. So these kind of things the publishers do. They go to the market. The editors of the publisher remain updated with the market. Like they look for what kind of articles are there in the newspapers. Like recently I went through an article in the newspaper in India Times or Times of India, I don't remember the exact newspaper, that the general MBA that the students were following has no relevance nowadays, until and unless it does not have the artificial intelligence and all. If the student has artificial intelligence skills or machine learning skills incorporated in them, so those students will be better benefited. So according to these researches and all, the editors keep researching for these kind of situations, so that they can look for the better subjects, for the better books according to the contemporary market. So accordingly, so in these kind of scenarios, the publishers have the need of uh, authors. So in these kind of scenarios, the publishers approaches the authors to write the content for them, or if they have the content, so to publish with them. There is also a term literary agents. This is not much prevalent in India. This is there mostly in outside, like Europe and United States. They mostly, these are the people who work on freelance basis mainly, and they act as an intermediary between the publisher and the author. So if the author has written a content, so they contact those literary agents that we have this content, and this book has this scope in the market. So literary agents prepare their view on that specific book, and then they approach the publishers with a complete clarity that this is the subject, and what is the scope of the book in the market, what is the sellability in the market, how can the publisher benefit, how can the author benefit, what is the quality of the book. With all these kind of criterias, they approach the publishers. So in this case, what happens that author does not have to go from one publisher to another publisher. Literary agents do that work for the authors, and they get a commission for those tasks. If the one publisher denies that we will not be able to publish, then they approach second publisher, third publisher. The cycle goes on until and unless the manuscript gets accepted by a specific publisher to get published it. So the specific cycle goes on, right? Then they all never works on what I'm saying full time basis. They mostly work on the commission basis and the freelance basis. And like I said, that the editors of publisher make researches, make market researches, market evaluation. But see, we need to note here that editor is making only an estimation. It is not based on some specific data, right? In some cases it may be based on data that past book of accounting had this much sales, so we will be able to publish we will be able to sell more books this time. But generally on we are doing some new subject and all, though in it is based only on estimation or the critical evaluation of the editor. So we can call it a trial and error method, because it can also be wrong, it can also be right. So the sales people and the marketing people are trained, specifically trained by the publishers. Like whoever is a senior in the company, they train the sales and marketing people that how you need to uh, research the market, how you need to approach the authors, right? Salespeople are never allowed to sit in the office. I mean, they are allowed, but they are not expected actually to sit in the office. They're expected to travel. The more travel, the more chances of getting the more manuscript. To travel, where travel? To the specific market, whatever market the publisher is targeting. Like if it is a higher education market, so that salespeople will travel to the institutes, colleges, universities. If it is a K-12 segment, sorry, market, so they will approach that segment, institutes, schools, and all. So they visit book fairs, they visit institute, they see that what other publisher, how the other publishers are performing. If we have books on book on accounting, if we have book on banking, other publishers are also having book on accounting. So who is performing better? If in a book fair another publisher book sales is higher, then why their sales is higher, why our sales is not higher? So what can we do to make our sales better or our books better? So these are techniques that sales or marketing people follow. They are trained by the senior officials of the company, who are well trained in that. And in that, experience, because these research and evaluation thing are done mostly by the acquisition editors and marketing person, sales person. So just excuse me for a second. Yeah, so what we were talking, acquisition people mainly do these kind of evaluations and all, market research and all. And for being an acquisition editor, you need a good experience in the publishing field, because then only you have the contacts with the authors, with the universities. Once you are quite experienced, or quite once you have spent a good time in this in the field, you make good contacts with the authors, with the with different universities, with the different uh, institutes, or the specific market that the publisher is dealing, right? Because editors also try that if one is dealing in humanities field, so they will try that they should continue their career in that specific or only. If one is doing dealing in fiction, so they will try that they should continue their career in that specific field only. And the publishers also prefer those specific candidates only. Like if a publisher is in a humanities field, or if it is in a if they publish fiction, so they mention in the criteria for the job, that the person should have the social science background, the person should have the fiction background. So the publishers and the editors both prefer the same field to continue for their career. Right. So for to be an acquisition editor, you should have good contacts, good experience in that field, and the better the contacts, the better you will success in your career. And you should have the good negotiation skills with the authors, that if the because when you will go to some person that please accept our offer, so they will also ask you that what you will provide us, right? So you should have that skills, so that you can convince the author to get published with them, right? So generally, for being an acquisition editor, you generally don't get an entry level position in the acquisition. You get those in those positions once you have once you have a good experience, right? Because an editor switches from publisher to publisher. They also changes their job from one company to another company, but they never switches their contacts. They maintain their contacts, retain their contacts with the authors, right? So if suppose if one acquisition editor is moving from switching his job from one publisher to another publisher, so they can go to another publisher and they can approach that same author, right, to get published with them. So this is the profile of the acquisition editor. Right. So acquisition does the evaluation, but they do that in conjunction with the marketing and sales people, right? Whenever a manuscript comes to the publisher, a combined decision is taken by the acquisition, by marketing, finance, sales. Everyone is concerned before accepting the manuscript from the author. So once the market confirms that yes, there will be a good scope, once sales confirm yes, there will be a good scope of sales, once finance confirms that yes, the we will be able to recover our cost, we will be able to make good profits out of that. So then only a combined decision is taken that yes, we will publish that, and then the on behalf of the publisher, one approaches the author that yes, we are good to go with your manuscript. There is also a term in publishing that is called Me Too product. Me Too is a very common term these days. So this is also prevalent in publishing field. Me Too means that a book is already there, or on a specific subject, a book is there in the market and it has a good sale. So another publisher thinks that that this book has a good sale or this subject has a good sale, so we will also be able to make it. So they also publish in that specific subject or that specific book on their name, as a new book on their name, with some, it may be with some different author or maybe with the same author. Or sometimes recently it is also happening that few publishers, if a publisher has closed down its unit, so another publishers are approaching the authors for the who are working for those publishers, who are working with those publishers. So this is called a Me Too product, and there are chances of both success and not being successful in this Me Too product. It may happen, that first publisher was making good marketing efforts, good sales efforts. That's why there was good sales of that book, but the current publisher is not able to do that. Right. So there are chances of both success and not success in Me Too product. There are high chances of luck and all, you can also say, right? So now how the manuscript is evaluated, we have talked a lot about that also, but as I told you that this is done mainly by the editor. The stronger the evaluation, the higher the probability of success or not success in the book. If sometimes also it also happens that if the manuscript is not evaluated properly, and we have incurred a lot of cost to produce that book, uh, to market that book, but all in vain because it was not evaluated initially properly, carefully, with all the data, with all the good estimations. So it is generally said in publishing industry that it is better to not publish than not to make any sales in the book, or not to make good sales in the book. Right? So the initial evaluation by the editor, by the marketing, is very crucial. Uh, there have been many examples. Like suppose there is a book on law. Uh, if an author uh, an author is not necessarily that it will be some professor or some big high profile personality only. It may happen that it is in a journalism field, and some media person who has a good knowledge of that field and want to approach, or maybe there is some lawyer. So there is some good new law launched by the court, so they want to publish that uh, law as a book for the general awareness of public. So they write books on that. So it may happen that one publisher will deny that they will say not, this is not a good book, editor has evaluated that not, this will not be able to make good sale. So obviously that author will approach another publisher. uh, what happens, it all depends on the evaluation skills of the editor actually, right? But another publisher, the editor evaluates the manuscript and thinks that I do not have much knowledge about this law, so I should consult an expert. So it also happens when the editor is not confident about his knowledge or her knowledge of that specific content, they look for the experts in that field and then consult those. Obviously, a fees is paid to those experts by the publisher. So publishers consult those experts and they take their opinion. What is their opinion, that will this be good or not? It may happen that expert is not good at the marketing or the sales aspect, but they will be able to tell that whether the content is good or not for the public or for the students, whatever the target market the publisher is approaching. So and so it may happen that the expert tells that yes, this is a good book and this can make a good sale, or it can be profitable, or this will be good for the awareness of the public. So second publisher accept that, and it may happen that it will make a good sale. So first publisher obviously will feel regret for that. Right. So these kind of errors may happen in the assessment and evaluation time by the editors, by the publishers, maybe the market, maybe it is not necessarily the editor, maybe the marketing person, maybe the salesperson. As I told you that all important departments are concerned before accepting any proposal for the book from the author. So and in publishing also there are every kind of company. There is every kind of company, uh, big large scale companies, mid size company, and small scale companies are also there. So in a large scale company there are different departments. Acquisition editor will be different, marketing person will be different, salesperson will be different. But maybe it is a small publisher, and they are not afford to have so many departments in their company. So in that the editor performs all the tasks. The acquisition is also being done by that editor. Marketing perspective is also being looked into by the editor. So it depends on the scale of the company, but basically the basic functions are the same. But it may happen that if it is a small company, you may have to look more into the marketing aspects also. And this kind of small publishers also do, large publishers also, that they for the sales, they if there are so many small distributors in a specific area, so they instead of approaching those small distributors, they will approach one big publisher in big sorry distributor in that area. They will provide commission to that distributor, and that distributor coordinates with all other small sorry, I'm with all books distributors of that area, and a commission or a fee based on the basis of sales is provided by the publisher. Like if 300 books have been sold, so and the book MRP is 750, so they will get 150 per book. So these kind of commissions are set by in coordination with the uh, publisher and the distributor. So these are few scenarios that the how the evaluation is done, or how the publisher tries to sell the book in the market. Uh, the editor, as also asked in the last session, that the editors can be one, the editors can be more. It also happens like acquisition editor is evaluating the manuscript as per the marketing needs of the subject of that specific book. Then it comes to the development editor, right? So development editor is looking for the is looking as per the developmental aspects of the book, like if they can be updated, if they can be more updated as per the current scenario, if we can add some more cases, if the book is on some specific India thing, uh, like if the book is on finance, so if there are any new updations in the GST Act or GST law, we can add those. If we can design the book, we can have the more better structure of the book. So development editor, if the language is appropriate or not to move further, development editor will not edit the language, but they will review the language, that whether it is good fit or not. In most of the cases the language is okay to proceed, because the publishers have good editors who can edit the content. So there can be different editors. Then it will come to the production editor. Production editor will evaluate it as per their production aspects, whether there are any production challenges or not. Like it may go to legal counselors or legal person in the company, that whether the book has not any legal issues or not. So in brief we can say uh, that they can be one editor, or there can be more editors to evaluate the manuscript, and then a combined decision goes to the author that we will publish it or we will not be publish it, right? So, uh, there is always a dilemma with the publisher, that with this book, with that specific book, will they be able to make it good sales or not? So all this is based on the evaluation skills, you can say, on the editor, because it is a risk taking part of their trade. Like I said earlier, that the evaluation has been done, the production has been done, the marketing efforts has been done, and the book has not made good sales, so it will be on vain, right? Acha, publishers also do one thing, like as they are doing the books from the old, uh, like at the time of independence there were many books written by the our leaders, right, and which were banned at that time by the British government, right? So these kind of books the publishers are generating again. They are approaching those old publishers or those old books, and they are writing, they are publishing them again. They are not rewriting them, because those facts and those things cannot be updated. Those are the same, histories cannot be updated. So they are doing new versions with new, they will just make new covers and all for that, and they will publish those. And in few cases I have seen that yes, these books are making good sales also. Like I did one book on Pandit Sundarlal. It was banned 4 or 5 times by the British government, But when the my publisher published it where I was working, so it made a good sales. And in fact it got a publishing award from one of the Indian organization, Federation of Publishers. It got a good award. So publishers are also making efforts these ways to promote their sales, right? Because this is a media, this is a print media, so media always remain updated with the market, with their market, that what can be done better to promote the sales and all, right? So as there are because this is also a business, so there are chances of risk, there are chances of losses also, for risks also. So everyone is looking for alternative situation solutions, that how can the evaluation be done better, how can we be more firm about our decision to publish a specific book, specific novel, whatever in the market the publishers are dealing, right? There are also other kind of risks in publishing, like if we are publishing anything that we are making it available for the public, right? So there should not be anything offensive. If some book is based on Indian constitution, it should not have an offensive about any political party, because this can be a threat to the publisher. Specific political party may file a case against that publisher. So while evaluating the manuscript, this point also an editor should keep in mind. Sometimes it happens that there are few sentences in a book that are offensive. So obviously, the acquisition editor is not reading the manuscript line by line. The development editor is not reading the book line by line. So it sometimes it happens that at the end, when the copy editor is copy editing the manuscript, because they are the people who are reading the manuscript line by line, word by word. So if they find anything offensive, they raise that, and that then the publisher or editor get in touch with the author, and they revise it accordingly or delete it, whatever the context is. So there should not be anything offensive is there, like we generally say that freedom of speech is there, but we should not, or we cannot say anything offensive to any person in real life also normally. That is the same in publishing, because media is a very sensitive thing, whether it is a newspaper or a magazine or a book even, right? So these kind of clauses or points also an editor and a publisher should keep in mind before publishing any book, right? So there are also the publisher are also devising, trying, as I told you, new ways for the publishing, for improving their sales and all. So they provide specific some schemes or offers to the authors, so that uh, ap- they they publish with the specific publisher. Sometimes they provide these kind of clauses, like uh, if this is a first time author, suppose a student has passed his PhD and all, so he or she wants to publish their research papers and all. So the publishers try to get benefit of this thing sometime, because at that time that person is not very curious about the money making. They are curious about their research to get published, right? So with these in these kind of scenarios, publishers may have clauses sometimes, that on the first 200 book sales, it will be royalty free, we will not be able to pay you any royalty. After 200 books, we will pay you 10% royalty. Publishers are following different techniques like this to increase their profit, to reduce their risk, right? Because if it is a first time author, the publishers are also not very confident about their sellability in the market. So they are also making efforts at their end, that so that their risks should be reduced. Mm. But see, publishers are making these things, and publishers are providing these kind of clauses to the authors. Still there is a need of the publisher, right? An author does not have every capability that the publisher has, right? So the authors and publishers both need each other, because obviously if the author is not there, so publisher, there is no relevance in the for the existence of the publisher. And if the publisher is not there, so there will be a difficulty for the author, because they are not very they are good at their content, but they are not very good at the marketing skills. Maybe some are, but not everyone is good at the marketing skills. Not everyone has the resources who can do the editing, who can provide you the formatted, uh, or who can evaluate the manuscript as per the competitive market. So the publishers and authors both are necessary for each other. Both go hand in hand. No one can go beyond without anyone. Uh, so this is the main profile that an acquisition editor or an evaluation editor, we can say, uh, performs. So if you have any queries and or any doubts regarding these acquisition and evaluation, you can please raise it.
Ma'am, is there any difference between literary scout and literary agent?
Yeah, there is a very, this is a very I will say least difference between the literary scout and the literary agent. Both are basically the same, right? As I told you that literary agents work on basically on the uh, freelance basis, right? And जो लिटरेरी स्काउट्स होते हैं, though these are mainly in the mainly work for the foreign publishers. Like literary scout is someone who maybe who looks for the new books coming out, fiction, non-fiction, right? And try to pick out the best works that have the best potential for the translation, for the sales. Basically, the literary scouts mainly work for the publishers, and the literary agents mainly work for the authors. So this is the basically the difference. Otherwise, the basic profile of them is same, that they do the market evaluation as per the subject of the book. Uh, they approaches the publisher, they approaches the authors. So basically the main profile is the same, but there is a very least difference that the for the publishers and for the authors they are working.
Okay. And a Me Too book is basically a book that resembles another book that's already been published, right?
Yes, yes, it may be a same book, it may be a same subject, it can be both.
And also, ma'am, regarding royalty, so
Hmm.
it's based on each book that's been sold, right? So, like,
Yes.
even if a book is, if the book is continuing to being sold, like say 5 years or 10 years, will the
Hmm.
author continue to benefit from it?
Yes, yes, they will be get benefit for it, and these are the clauses that are included in the contract when the publisher and author say. Like I told you, that sometimes the publisher will say that on first few copies, like 200 copies, 400 copies, you will not get a royalty. After that, you will get. But in most of the cases, the publisher will give the royalty as per the decided percentage to the author till the time the sale goes on of the book.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. So should we continue? Fine. Next is our memorandum of agreement. I talked a bit about this memorandum of agreement last time also, but today we will discuss in detail. Right. So in general life also, anything oral uh, is not considered foolproof and all. Right. If you are in an office and you are doing some job, so if your manager is also asking you or instructing you something to do, so you will get a take a confirmation in the written form, right? So written is very important these days because no one can be trusted as the world is, right? So that purpose is fulfilled by the memorandum of agreement, right? So this is in short form, mostly this is called MOA. So once the publisher has evaluated the manuscript, right, acquisition editor has done their work, marketing, sales, commissioning, everyone has been talked to, and finally the publisher has decided, yes, we are going to publish this book. We are going to invest our money and time on this book. So at that time, the publisher contacts the author to sign an agreement. In general language or in a layman language, you can say it a contract. So a stamp paper is purchased from the court, uh, local court from the in the specific area, and on that stamp paper, few clauses are written so that there should not be any legal issues or disputes later on. Mm. And this memorandum of agreement needs to be very carefully read by the author because this is created by the publisher. Right? So this is created by the publisher, and this needs to be carefully read by the author, that whatever has been discussed, whether it has been written clearly according to that or not, whether the publisher is not making any fool of the author, right? So for these kind of thing, it should be carefully read by the authors and publishers both. So there are different clauses that are included, right? First is the clause that there is an agreement to publish. In first clause, it is mentioned like any other contract that yes, this is the publisher and this is the author, and publisher has agreed to publish this book in this year, in this time, and this will be the title of the book, right? So this is included first, that yes, we are going to publish this book, this is the author. In the contract, the name of the publisher and the name of the author should must always be correct, right? It should not be there should not be any error or something in that, right? Then the clause is add of grant of rights, that whether the author wants to grant their right to someone else on their behalf or not. Like I told in the last session, that it sometimes happened that after writing the book, the author is no more, and so there is a clause of nominee, that if the author is not existing when the book is out, then the nominee person has the right, all the right for that. Uh, uh, so the author can transfer their rights to the specific mentioned person if it requires. So it is mentioned in the uh, clause, right? Then there is a clause in the royalty. Then there is a clause of the royalty, right? That uh, nowadays the publisher publishes in both print form also and the electronic format also. So there are also different clauses for the royalty for print books and the ebooks. Like on the sale of ebooks, we will pay you this much royalty, and on the hard books or the physical copies, we will pay you this much of the profit. So the percentage of profit may also vary. right? No royalties paid for the advertising or the promotional purposes. Like I told you earlier also, that if publisher has decided that they will publish 2100 they will be able to make sale of 200 sorry 2100 copies, so they will publish print their 2500 copies, right? 400 copies are for the promotional purposes to distribute among the specific market. If it is a fiction market, so they will distribute those copies for free for promotional purposes to that specific market. If it is a university, if it is a textbook, so they will distribute their copies to specific universities, to specific professors, or maybe in some specific book launches they will do that. So this clause is also there, right, that no royalty will be paid on the advertising or promotional purposes, right? And there are also clauses that royalty will be paid by this date of the month. Like by the 13th of the month or by the 15th of the month, we will pay the royalty for the previous month's sale, right? So some clauses are for the author, are from the author, some clauses are from the publisher. Like there are also promises by the authors, uh, because after the editing has been done, after the typesetting has been done, so publisher always shares that manuscript before printing with the authors. They need to review that, they need to tell that if there is any correction or any minor correction or any updates is allowed in the book. So it happens that many times that authors are prone to make changes, that whenever the publisher will share the times the publisher will say, share the manuscript with the author, they are tend to make changes in that. But this will affect the schedule of the publisher, this will affect the formatting of the publisher. Suppose a book has been formatted with page numbers and all, and the author is saying that please add this paragraph or this case of 2 pages in this specific chapter. So the publisher, if the publisher adds that specific content provided by the author, new content provided by the author, so all paging will be disturbed, right? The typesetter will have to work again on the pagination, again on the pages of the book. So it will obviously increase the cost, and it will also consume more time, obviously. So it will affect, if the we have decided that the book will be go to print in July, so this may affect the schedule by 10 days. It may pursued by 10 days. So these kind of things the publishers try to avoid, that the author should not make many changes after the final manuscript is provided by the publisher. So they are sent for the review only for the minor changes. If there are any minor corrections in there, so the authors are allowed to make, but not the any major corrections will be there, right? And if the author is making any editorial changes, editorial means language and all changes, so it is the discretion, final discretion is of the publisher only, that we will make it or not. Because it happens that many times it happens that the author is not much aware about the language, but they still try, they have some belief that this thing is correct or this point is correct, so they try to make it. But the publisher, the final discretion of the language grammar like thing is of the publisher. But yes, if the author has asked for a change and if the publisher is not making that change, so the publisher will convey that to the publisher, so to the author, that we are not making this change because of this specific reason. Because it may happen the author has some different point of view that the publisher has not thought of. So it is always better to, it is not better that it is must to share with the author that we are not going to make this suggested change by you because of this reason. And all these things that I, all these points that I have talked just now are included in the memorandum of agreement, that publisher will share only one round of proofs to the author. Author will not make heavy changes in those, only 10% of the changes allowed by the author. These kind of clauses are included in the manuscript of sorry, in the memorandum of agreement, right? If there are any legal actions against the publisher, so there is also a clause that the author will be responsible for their content, the publishers will not be responsible. Although the publisher evaluates the manuscript according to that, as I told you, every editor evaluates. But if the content is written by the publisher, so it is mentioned in the clause that the author will be responsible for that legal issue. Right. Regarding copyright, the clause is there that who retains the copyright of this book. Generally, the copyright is with the author only, and there is a copyright page included in the book. It is generally the page number 4 of the book. In that, on the top, it is mentioned that copyright is with the author, and in this year, the book has been published, and this is the author is the copyright holder of this specific book. Copyright clauses, there are different copyright clauses that we have covered in the last session, so we will not go into much detail about this, right? Okay, then the clauses of there of uh, printing edition or publishing edition, we can say, like the author can say that you have the right to reprint it by only in the physical edition, not in the electronic edition, or you have the exclusive rights for the electronic edition but not for the paper rights, not for the print rights. These clauses are there. So that means any kind of issue, any kind of dispute that can arise, everything is included in the memorandum of agreement. Like costing, if there is any cost that the publisher wants the author to bear, in some case, in some publishers, it happens that the indexing cost, the book index cost, index that appears at the back of the book, mostly in the textbooks or academic books it happens, not in the fiction and all. There is an index, maybe in the mbp2 there will be a coverage of that index. So the index is done specifically by the trained professional, those are called indexers, right? So it happens that the publishers ask the author to bear the indexing cost. Right? So this clause is also mentioned in the contract. And, once all this is done, all clauses are mentioned, when all the author and the publisher have agreed with all the clauses, right? And one more thing, the copyright clearances, like if the author has used some figures or some content that is the copyright material of any third party, right? So and it cannot be published without the permission of that specific party, right? So it is not the duty of the publisher to get the permission, to get the right from the that third party. Suppose an author is making is citing some case study of a Samsung company, suppose, right? And from the website of a Samsung company, and on the website of the company it is clearly mentioned that this content is copyright to it has a is the copyright holder of for this content, the copyright holder is of Samsung, and it cannot be published. If you will visit any website now, any company website, this clause will also always be there, that this is copyright content, and you can publish it but with the due permission, and the permission for permission you will have to this specific process, right? So if it is written that and the author has used that content, so it is the duty of the author to get the relevant to secure the permissions for that, whether it is a paid or unpaid permission. If it is a paid permission, means that ठीक है, Samsung is providing with the permission, but they will charge some, they will take some charge from the author, right? Suppose $500 or 500 rupees for a figure they are asking, so the author will pay that to the third party. But see, publisher will not go for the permission to the specific that specific party, but publisher needs those proofs of the permission from the author. Earlier there were these were handwritten letters, so author publishers asked for those letters, but now these are on emails. uh, so the publishers ask for that if you have permission, please share the permission letters or permission emails, whatever you have, with us. If the author is not able to share those, the publisher will not share that specific will not publish that specific content, because it can be a legal issue after the printing. because till the book is not getting printed, it is not, it is only in the hands of the publisher, it is only visible to the publisher or the author. But when it is out in the market, so it is available to all, so there can be legal issues. So it is also a very uh, crucial point to look for in by the editor, that are there any elements in the book that needs permission to publish, and the author has not given us the proofs that yes, this is permitted to publish it. uh, Sometimes it happens that it is mentioned on the website that it is available to publish in for educational purpose, but it is not available for the commercial purpose. And when the publisher is publishing, it is publisher is publishing anything for the profit only, so that is considered a commercial purpose, right? So this clause is also there, that the author will have to secure any permissions if they are using this kind of any third party content that is not available to publish, or that is not allowed to publish without the permission, right? So once all this is done, so this is signed both by publisher and the author. Hmm. Any infringement issues, any liability issues, all these kind of things are included in the uh, contract. But whether you will some you may be experienced in uh, you some of you may be experienced, some of you may be fresher in this field, but everyone, if you are joining as a trainee editor also, no, so every book has a contract, right? Whatever field it is, like textbook, fiction, anything, and whatever field you want to go, and whatever field you have interest, so every book has a contract. So you should read that contract to get insights that what all your publisher aspects from the author, or what your publisher offers to the author, and what the author agrees for. So you will get a better understanding how the industry works. So whenever you start working, or you can also see the sample on the net, there are many samples available on the net. So the things may vary, the points may vary between publisher to publisher, but the basic clauses, that there's, like I told you, that right clauses there, copyright clauses there, deadlines issues, like costing issues, points are included in the contract. They will be there, and this is obviously done on the stamp paper, so it is always in the legal language. So you should always read those contracts. It is generally 5-6 pages contract, so you should read that contract to get the better insights into the field or to the industry. Yeah. So I have covered memorandum of agreement. If you have
Yeah.
any queries, yeah.
So, what if the policies of the publishing house changes after a period of time? Will the memorandum be renewed or will it remain the same?
I didn't get you. When the agreement get changed, I didn't get you actually.
If some of the policies of the publishing house is later
Hmm.
on changed, let's say maybe on royalties or whatever it is, if the
Mm-hmm.
policies of the publishing house changes, will the
Mm-hmm.
memorandum will be renewed?
Obviously, yes. Because if you are changing anything, so you will first need to discuss with the author. If the author agrees for that, then there will be a new contract. Because on the same contract, it can't happen that you are in the contract you are writing that you will provide 20% royalty, and your company policies is changing, so you are providing just 15% royalty on the further sales. So there will be a different contract, obviously. Anyone else, if you have anything? This is the very starting initial point of the publishing, because after this only the work gets started. Even the production people also don't start work if they don't get the contract. This is done, contract and all stuff is done by mainly by the acquisition editor. So acquisition editor and the acquisition editor on the behalf of the publisher and the author. So it is done in the very initial stages. So once the acquisition passes the project, a book is called a project in a publishing industry. So whenever passes a project to the some another department like development editor or production department, so they will pass all these documents signed between the publisher and the author to the specific department. Suppose they have sent to production that the book is ready and now you start producing it, you manufacture it. So when production team will ask that where is the contract, if it is not available there, so they will not start working on that specific project. If they will get a contract only, they will start working on that project.
So the work of the acquisition editor begins from collecting the from like finding the manuscript to making the contract of it.
Yes,
Okay.
their work ranges between that. After that, the development work, the production work, the printing works, but their work stops after that. Their work does not stop if they are, if the production or if the development or the printing has any doubts or needs any clarification, they consult with the acquisition editor. And because in the cover designing, in the deciding the paper of the book, acquisition editor is always consulted, and then only it is fixed. But mainly the profile is from the acquiring the manuscript till signing the contract. Because in MRP and all, the fixing the MRP and all, the acquisition is involved. Nothing more. Okay, so the last unit is on ISBN. You all have must have heard about the ISBN, right? Or must have seen also on the back of the book the ISBN number is there. So ISBN is a short form for International Standard Book Number, right? It is a it basically performs the function of a primary key. In real life, in normally in our life also, when we were students also, right? The in class we had the roll numbers. The roll numbers were the primary key. Like if we are traveling in a train, our ticket numbers are the primary key. So when the things are in bulk, the similar kind of things are in bulk. Like in our family, if we our parents call us by names. They don't need any primary key, right? But when when we two siblings are going to any school, so for that school we are not we are just the students, and they have a lot of students. So to deal with the different students, they assign specific roll numbers so that every student can be distinguished or can be identified individually. Like similarly in the travel, for the railway industry or for the air industry, there are a lot of passengers. They can't identify everyone by their name, so they can be same names. So the primary key is the key that is unique to each. Like Aadhaar number, the most common example. Aadhaar number is the primary key of every Indian citizen. Right? So this is the work. This is the function performed by the ISBN for the books. Okay. So basically, in a layman language, we can say that the ISBN is the primary key for the published books, right? They are and technically they are called the numeric book identifier that should be and they are unique only. Like for the separate editions, we have a separate ISBN. If we are printing a book in a physical format, there will be a different ISBN. If we are publishing that same book in an electronic format, there will be a different ISBN. If we are publishing that same book in the hardcover version, I told you about the binding and all in the last session. so that will have a different ISBN. If it the same book is getting published in a paperback version, paperback is a like paper kind of cover of the book. So that means every kind of different version of the book will have the different ISBN. One book cannot have same ISBN for all versions, right? So earlier, this ISBN thing is handled by ISO, International Organization of Standardization. ISO works for other companies, other fields also, as you know. So ISO also works for the publishing field also, and they provide the ISBN for each book. But obviously, one organization cannot work throughout the world, right? So each country has a specific organization for assigning the ISBN to that to the publisher of that specific country. Like in India, if a publisher has to is publishing some book, so they will approach an organization called Raja Ram Mohan Rai Institute for the ISBN. So they assign one ISBN to specific book. But application is done like in at the same time. One book, the publisher will mention we are going to publish it in paperback format, we are going to publish it in ebook format, we are going to publish in EPUB format. All the information goes in one go, and then the organization assigned organization provides the ISBN for all different version in one go. In the one chart, it comes like paperback version this ISBN, ebook version this ISBN, right? So ISBN is divided, basically it is of 13 digit code, 13 digit primary key for the book, and it is divided into four parts, right? First is the part of EAN group. I will let you know that what is EAN. Then there is a group, the assigned organization of that country. Some numbers are for that group. Then the number comes for the publisher. Then the number comes for the specific book title, and then there is one check digit. We will come on to this check digit, right? So there is nowadays it is a 13 digit number, but earlier it was not 13 digit, it was only 10 digit number. Earlier means not very earlier, it was only before 2007, right? So before 2007 it was a 10 digit number only. In that all groups were there, but there was not a group for the country, right? So what happened, we were talking about EAN number there, right? So EAN and PUC, I think. No, just a second. PSC was there. Hmm, just a second. Hmm. Huh. So there were different organizations in USA earlier and Europe, right? So for Europe, it was a EAN organization, and for US, it was some another organization. I'm not just that organization name is not coming to my mind currently. Doesn't matter. We'll come to that. Fine. So they use these numbers for every commodity. Like if you normally go to a store to buy some FMCG items also, or any kind of provisional store, and you buy some item and you purchase it. So the counter person scans the barcode, right? So those barcodes also go on the book. So earlier it was US company, and US coding was there, and European coding was different, US coding was different. So their products were different, but what was realized in 2005, around 2005, that books are the commodities that is published, that is produced by each country, right? So it was decided that one EAN code will be there for each country, and that will be a 3 digit code, 978, 989, these kind of codes are there. So the ISBN which were of 10 digits earlier, so after adding these country codes, it became 13 digit number. So that's why earlier, before 2007, ISBNs were of 10 digit number, and now the ISBNs are of 13 digit number. Right? So issuing process, I have told you that each country has some organization assigned to them. So the publishers approaches those specific publisher, sorry, that organization, and that organization assigns the numbers to specific book. One is ISSN number, International Standard Serial Number. These are basically for the series books. Right? If the book is of series and it is publishing it under it 4 volumes, so it may happen that a specific volume has a ISBN number also, and but that series will have the same ISSN number, that is for the series of the uh, that is for the series, and that is also provided by the same organization. Anything here you want to ask? Then I will continue to ISBN only. Okay. So how it is done? Like first, international agency is there, then the group agencies are there. Structure of the ISBN, of the administration of the ISBN are the same. First, international agency is there, that is ISO, right? And then the group agencies are there, like I told you. In India, we have Raja Ram Mohan Rai organization, and then the publisher level. So in these 3 steps, the administration of ISBN is done. Like if there is a Raja Ram Mohan Rai organization, so they have their website portal for the application of ISBN. So a publisher appoints one person, or assigns that task to one person in the editorial team. This is a person, kind of assistant type of person. So they make request to the for the ISBNs of each book published by that publisher, and it is done on their portal only. And then in specific few specific some days, the we get the ISBN and all. Uh, in the application for the registration of the ISBN, or the application of the ISBN, there are some information that are mandatory to be included. Like you need to mention the house of the name of your publishing house. You need to mention who is the proprietor, what is the nationality, when was the establishment was done of your organization, what is the publishing field of your organization. So, or how many copies we are going to expect to print in the specific years. So these kind of and sometimes it also happens that we have applied for the SBN and we have also received the ISBN, but later on there are changes in the book. Changes kind of we are deciding that no, we will publish this as a second edition of the book, right? And or we are not going to print it in the paper format. We will only publish it in the e-format of the book, right? So at that time, the earlier ISBN will be surrendered by the publisher, that we do not need this ISBN, and a second application will be filed to that specific website portal of the agency. ISBN agency is called mainly. So the agency will reassign the ISBN to that specific book, and the other previous ISBN get null and void. Yeah. So these are there. And then there is a check digit, I told you, right? Because there are 4 main groups: first country, then publisher, then title, and then there is a 1 digit number that is called check digit. It is generally used to check whether the ISBN is correct or not. So there are some mathematical formulas for that, to check. Like earlier, there was 10 digit ISBN, so there was a different formula for that. That the all the numbers of the ISBN, like 812406142, is these kind of numbers are in the ISBN, you must have seen in the books. So these were all numbers like 81241. Separately, they will be multiplied from 10 to 2. Like 8 will be multiplied by 1, then 1 will be multiplied by 9, then 2 will be multiplied by 8. All these numbers will be multiplied till 2. Whatever the number comes, some comes from the total of those calculations, right? Then that figure will be divided by 11, and then the 2 will be added to that number. 2, where it is come from, 2 is the check digit that is given at the end of the ISBN, right? So these kind of mathematical formulas are there. Two formulas are there, just only one for the 10 digit and one for the 13 digit number, right? And yes, that USA company name that I forgot earlier, that is UPC, not PUC. I was making a mistake there. That is Universal Product Code. Right? So they are they combine, and then the 10 digit converted to 13 digit number. Right. So if you will see some old book na, so you will see that there is, yeah, 10 digit number, and you will see some current book or after 2007, you will notice that there is a 13 digit ISBN number. So as ISBN is a very important thing, very crucial point for a book. So whoever is making the application of the ISBN, maybe you, if you get hired by some publishing house and they assign as a starting point to apply for the ISBN. So this is the task that seem to be easy, because you just need to fill the details in the portal and they provide you the ISBN. But this is a very crucial task that needs to be done very carefully, because even a minor change in the title, in the edition, in the author names can affect your ISBN numbers. And once the ISBN comes, the publisher also identifies their books with the ISBN numbers only. And if it goes wrong, it is always reflected in the copyright page of the book. As I told you that there is one copyright, always there is a copyright page in the book. It is reflected in that copyright page, and it is also mentioned on the back cover of the book at the end, along with where the MRP is mentioned. So there is a barcode, and the ISBN number is mentioned. So cover is a very critical thing, copyright page is a very critical thing. So this is a task that should be done very carefully, thoughtfully, with the concentration, right? If there are also some points that needs to be take have in mind while signing for the ISBN. Like I told you, like in a series book, separate volume, different volumes will have different ISBN, and the series will have a different ISSN number. But there are also cases when a book set is being sold. Like a book is being sold as a set of 4 books in one box. These are called box case books. So in that case, all books will not have a will not be sold individually. It is mentioned in the at that box that the books are not to be sold individually. In that case, the each volume will not have a different ISBN. The agency will provide a ISBN to the specific set only. Okay, so these few things that the person who is making application for the book, for the ISBN, they needs to they should be aware of these points or these clauses. And whenever there is a change, like I told you, for price change, of edition change in between the production, so there will have to be it will have to be apply for the new ISBN, and the previous ISBN need to be surrendered, right? printing, I told you that it is done. Uh, it actually varies also. Generally, it is mainly printed on the copyright page and the back cover of the book. But sometimes some publishers style it is that it is also on the spine of the book. Spine, front cover, back cover, and on the mid, what is connecting front and back cover, the binding where the binding gets glued, that is called the spine of the book. Next time I will bring a book for you to because that will come actually in the next mbp2 session, the more details about the structure of the book. So in that I will show you a book and clear how the book is structured and what part of the book is called what. Because generally we purchase a book, read it, and the content is all for us. But when we are moving into the, or when we are aspiring to move into the publishing industry, we should know the uh, different terms used for the book. So I will show you few books on the screen next time in the mbp2 sessions. Right. So this is all about isbn. So advantages is that only that they are the primary key, as I told you. They get registered. If you are publishing a book, it will be registered as with the agency that yes, this publisher has published this book. And yes, this is more well enough about the isbns. If you have any query about the isbn issn, you can please raise.
Ma'am, if the book is being self-published, can the author himself apply for the number?
uh, no, actually the agency provides the isbn to the publisher. The reason being, as I told you, there are four parts of the ISBN. Like first is the country code, then is the group code, whatever the agency is there who is assigning, and then there is the publisher code, right? So the generally this task is done by the between the agency and the publisher. Author does not want to involve in this actually, in application of the ISBN and all. They generally want to retain or confine to their content only. If you will ask them also, they will tell you that please do it yourself and this is the publisher's job. So they generally they don't do.
But like, what about if it's not published through a publishing house? If it's been self-published?
For the self-published books, there is a different criteria. Uh, they see if it is a book is being sold privately or the self-published, so they also can go without ISBN. They need in all cases they need not go for the application of ISBN. But the risk there is that your ISBN is not registered with that organization. But yes, if you want to apply for the ISBN in that case, so you can apply for the ISBN. So there are options on their portal that what is the uh, mode of your publishing. You are self publishing, you are only e-publishing, you are physically publishing the book. So all those criteria are there, so you can opt for that. But if the author is publishing through the publisher in between, so then it is done by the publisher only.
Okay, thank you.
Any doubt if you have from the last session also, because today we will end mbp1, and from the next session tomorrow we will start mbp2, that is editing in pre-press. So if you have anything from last, or if you have any doubt regarding the industry in general also, you can please, I will try to answer your question if I will have. No
What are
one.
the beginning roles in a publishing house now?
See, there
Like,
are
as a fresher coming in, what
mhm.
jobs can you expect to get?
Okay, so see, it depends on your skills, Shahana. If you have editing skills, or you are interested in or you have the literature background and all, because for the editing the publishers prefer to have the person from the literature background, right? So you should go for the copy editing, right? You can uh, get an entry for the other roles also, like development editor and on. But this is my personal view that if you start from scratch, you will get the basic and the thorough knowledge of the industry, so that when you will reach to the top now, to the senior positions or to the senior profiles, you will have the that knowledge in your mind. Because editing is that thing in the publishing that everyone needs it. Acquisition, development, production, everyone needs it. Because sometimes it happens that one gets the entry in the development editor position, and but then they face some difficulties at some specific points, critical points, that they do not have much knowledge about the editing or the production. So start from the scratch, start from the editor only. It is my wonderful. But yes, if you have marketing skills, if you have designing skills, you can also start in the marketing department, as a cover designer, as a graphic designer. If you have the good negotiation or convincing skills, sales skills, you can also start from the sales department. So it all depends what from what field or from what background you are coming from. Because nowadays publishers have every role in their companies. They have editing, they have finance role there, they have customer services there, they have printing departments there. So it depends on the background. But if the editorial we are saying, then you should start from the level of a editor only, level of a copy editor, because there are different kinds of editor. So copy editor point of view from you should start.
Okay, thank you.
So if no one has a doubt, so you all have gone through your study material or not?
Ma'am, I have not yet received the study material actually. Parallel
Okay,
going through the study material will help actually. I have mailed them twice. I haven't got any response.
okay,
Even I didn't get the hard copy. There are the e-books there. I will let you.
okay, okay, okay. Fine. So while going, when you will receive the study material, you go through them. It covers many things. And while going through the sessions, whether we are in MVP 2, MVP 3 session also, if you have received your material and if you have any doubts and all, so you can ask anytime for other sessions also,
Okay.
right? So I think we can close it, sir, because no
Absolutely,
questions and queries
absolutely,
are
ma'am.
there.
As usual, it was a very interesting session. In fact, I could also learn a lot of things from this, especially related
Thank
to
you,
the
sir.
ISBN and such other things, which we
Yeah,
normally take for granted. Because even
yeah.
when we publish, we do not go too seriously into these country codes and publisher codes and all those things. But it was
Mm-hmm.
really nice that we could also understand all this. And next time,
Yeah.
when I plan to publish, I will definitely get in touch with you for some expert advice.
Yeah, sure, sir. Sure, sir. I'm always
Yeah,
there.
yeah. So thank you so much
Yes.
for that very interesting session. And
Yeah, thank you, sir.
one more good thing is that whenever we upload the videos related to these sections, it is getting good hits as well, which means that the general student community is also greatly interested about book publishing and the areas that you are covering. So thank you so much, ma'am, and we'll
Yeah, you're
meet in
welcome,
the
sir.
next session. So
Yeah,
thank you so
sure,
much.
sir. Yeah,
And I
thank you.
also thank all the learners for joining in.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. See
Thank
you
you so much.
tomorrow.
See
Yeah,
you
bye.
tomorrow. See you all of you.
Bye.